Hello, and thank you for tuning into this conversation on leading through a crisis, where we engage leaders from around the world and discuss how to lead in these uncertain times. Today, I'm joined by Braden Douglas. Braden is the founder of Crew Marketing. It's a marketing company from Vancouver, British Columbia. It's one of Canada's fastest growing companies in this sector. So, Braden, welcome to the conversation today.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, it's timely.
So maybe the first question for you is, I know that you're working from home today, but how has this crisis affected you directly, whether you personally, your family, or your business?
Well, I think family-wise, it's, our kids, they're about 10 and 12, and they think this is like a bit of an extended holiday. They think, oh, great, no school, let's just hang out. Mom and dad are home. From family perspective, we're healthy, we're great. It's been really good. Business-wise, it's a shambles. It's crazy right now. And we're seeing tourism clients, fitness centers, restaurants, food service, hospitality, those industries, because of social distancing and isolation, are just hammered. And a lot of them have laid off employees, obviously stopped all marketing work for us. So that's a revenue stream that's really dried up overnight. But then on the other side, we have a lot of food clients and agriculture and some different commodities and staples that are doing phenomenally well because people are bulk buying and things like this. So it's a little bit of uncertainty right now, and we're just trying to really figure it out like everybody else.
Yeah. Looking back, has there been a crisis that you faced in the past that you've learned from, and would you be willing to share a little bit about that, and how is that framed the way that you are looking at what you're facing right now?
Yeah. I wish that we didn't have to learn all the hard lessons in crisis, that we could just learn them in the good times and it just keeps going. But I think you're right. It's in the valleys that you really do learn. You don't want to stay there and you don't want it to last. But, when I look back, we started our business, we were about 2 years old at the 2008, 2009 crisis, the financial crisis. And that was a little bit different. And so that was just more of the markets and people not putting cash in. This crisis right now is really different. And it probably reminds me of that a few years ago, probably just over 2 years ago, I had this perfect storm happen in the business. We had about 3 major clients that represented about 25% of the business. All unrelated. Some projects were just winding up at that time. One, hired a whole team in-house, a few different things, but we lost 25% of our revenue within a matter of a week. And so that's when I was started to say, well, what does a leader do in this crisis? Like, what do you really need to do? And so there's I call it the 4 C's. And I think in a crisis, the 4 C's is, number 1 is to be calm. You, as a leader, you don't have the opportunity to be frazzled. Inside with people that you trust, sure, you can really talk to them and be more vulnerable. But to the outside, you have to remain calm. It's like that stewardess on or a flight attendant on a flight. If the turbulence, if they're freaking out, then the plane is in trouble. But if they're calm, you're gonna be calm with them. You'll be like, okay, well, they're not worried. If they're not worried, then I probably shouldn't be worried. It should be okay. And so I think that's a key thing. And the next one, though, is that you have to really create clarity. And clarity is about setting the right strategic direction. So you're getting input from senior people, from the market, from customers and clients, and you're gathering enough intel to really create the right strategy for the business. And what we've done right now is we've created 2 strategies. One is a defensive strategy. And so that is about looking at government grants, cutting expenses, really tightening up in many different areas to go on the defensive. But then we also have to create offensive strategies. And that means, are there new products and services that we can launch? What are our customers and clients going through that we could really help solve for them at this time? And so then once you have clarity, then you go to the next C, which is communication. You have to communicate really effectively down through the organization. And so for us, it's about increasing the touch points that you have. So right now we've gone to a daily huddle with our teams, especially remotely, so they can really get a sense of, okay, this is happening. Here's what we're going to be doing. And I think giving them a good a good sense of reality. Here's the information that we have. Here's what we've done with that information. And here's what we're going to be doing. And then the fourth C is consistency. And that doesn't mean that you're setting the strategy and then you're just saying, okay, we're just going to go down this path, because I think that's ridiculous. But there has to be consistency with how you're going to address the organization and how you're going to address the problems. And so I think people have to know, well, this is how we're going to address it. We're going to have meetings every 2 days as a senior team. We're going to evaluate, then we're going to communicate with you, and then we're going to do this. But in the meantime, here's what you need to be doing, X, Y, and Z, in order to fulfill that. So those are the kind of things that we've been kind of looking at. So the 4 C's of calm, clarity, communication, and consistency.
Wow, love those 4. Thanks, Braden. Maybe the last question would be this. How does the faith part for you, or the spiritual part for you, actually work out? Maybe it goes back to your first C of being calm, or you can go in whatever direction that you want with that, but give us some insight of that. How is this working for you personally?
Well, you know what, this is what I love about even LeaderImpact, is this idea of the professional, your personal, and your spiritual life. When crisis really hits, and I think this is where we're seeing a crisis right now, is that when that happens, you need your spiritual life. And that for me has been my, my relationship with Jesus, with really saying, okay, God, like, you are actually ultimately in control. And I think that's where, it really starts to say, what am I trusting in? Am I trusting in a bank account that I have a lot of money in that is going to help me through this? Am I trusting in a business or in family members? Because those things are all going to, they're all fleeting. People are going to get sick. They're not going to be with you forever. Your business is just a tool. It could be gone overnight. And I think this is where we can take away positives out of, COVID and in this pandemic, is that I think it's turning people to say, what is my foundation and my spiritual life based on? For me, it's about just knowing who God is, that He loves us. He's got a plan for our lives. He is going to take care of us. And I think when we have that mindset of saying, okay, God, I'm going to trust you, and I'm just going to lay it all down, my work, my life, my family, my finances, and I'm just going to give it to you. That really, when you can start to see it come in. So that's kind of been my kind of take on that.
Well, Braden, thank you for your time, your insights today. I've written these down: calm, clarity, communication, and consistency. And so I think those are 4 hangers that we can hang on to over the course of this crisis. So thank you for joining us today. And thank you for joining us today. If you aren't already, follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and you'll be notified as we talk with other leaders around the world on how to handle these difficult and maybe unprecedented times.